I just got back in from walking with young people, and I'm just feeling like a little sweaty. But it's not coming across on the camera. It's okay.
Seems fine.
Okay.
Hey everybody, it's Pastor Los, eager to be with you for another Gospel Unplugged. This week I am with my
Extremely eager colleague, Pastor Dixon.
eager. All the edges in the world, he shows eager.
You said eager.
I didn't say anything.
Eager.
All right, with my very eager colleague, Pastor Dixon. And we are eager to talk about grace. This is our 5th week in the series of our first of our 3 big words, grace, hope, and forgiveness. And this one is that grace starts and ends with God. And we have 2 very familiar parables, or pretty familiar parables, in Luke chapter 15, maybe my favorite chapter of any book in the Bible. And why don't we read it? So starting with the first verse. St. Luke writes, "Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to him. And the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, 'This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them.' So he told them this parable. 'Which one of you, having 100 sheep and losing one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders and rejoices. And when he comes home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, "Rejoice with me, for I have found my lost sheep." Just so I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who need no repentance. Or what woman, having 10 silver coins, if she loses one of them, does not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she has found it, she calls together her friends and neighbors, saying, "Rejoice with me, for I have found the coin that I have lost." Just so, I tell you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. All right. What are you eager to talk about?
I am earnestly hoping to discuss. No, here's what I'll say. If you have a 6th grader in your life or someone who's been in 6th grade over the last 2 or 3 years, ask them about these stories. That'll be a fun additional way to connect what's happening here with the kind of conversations you can have at home, because I hope anyone who's gone through 6th grade over the last few years will have some expert opinions about this story. This is a key piece of the curriculum for that new 6th grade starter program. So I'd be curious to know what they've retained. So that's a homework assignment. I think it would be fun to talk about this in order. Both you and I remarked that the first verse here, I said it kind of grabbed me anew. You said you've always felt this is like an important grounding and context for this verse. I kind of forget about it from time to time. But the first verse you'll remember is, "Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to him." That's the context. And the Pharisees and scribes were grumbling about that. That's the context in which these 2 famous parables are shared. And I think I have underappreciated that for as long as I've thought about this passage.
Yeah, parables are Jesus' way of describing how God would like the world to run, how God intends the world to run, how the world would run if it were running according to God's plan. Sometimes he'll name that. The kingdom of God is like. We think of kingdom geographically. It's more the reign of God, the rule of God when things are running the right way. This is what it looks like. And that is usually surprising. I mean, maybe it doesn't surprise us. It's not the way the world actually is running, but he will describe it in a way that surprises his audience. And you kind of get that sense of what's coming from the grumbling. So you have 2 sets of people here, tax collectors and sinners. Tax collectors are not people who work for the IRS or anything like them. They're people who were squeezing their neighbors for money to give to the Romans and getting rich off of it.
I always talk about like
absolutely despised.
The mob kind of. They would make a bid.
Yeah.
They would make a bid for a territory, and then they collect whatever they can from that territory. They have to pay their bid, and what they can keep over the top is their profit. So it's kind of
absolutely
different from good order.
Good image. And sinners is not, in this sense, Luke is not using this in the Lutheran sense. We're all sinners. Yeah. He means the people that you know how bad they are.
Yeah.
So they've done things that everybody knows, and they're not a part of society at all. So bad. And then Pharisees and scribes. Pharisees are your Sunday school teachers, your church council members. Your scribes are your seminary professors. Good. And they're grumbling. This fellow welcomes sinners. He hangs out with people he makes really bad friendship choices.
Yeah.
And then I think that critical pivot word,
So,
he told them this parable.
yeah.
He wants to now be in their face. He wants to call them up short. He wants to surprise them with the way God really wants things to be.
Yeah. He's talking to the flock, the people who comfortably feel they're part of the 99. They're where they're supposed to be. The shepherd called us into the pen. We're in the pen.
Yeah.
He's talking to them, and he's saying, what shepherd, having the 99 properly where they're supposed to be, would not go out looking for the one? And use the word surprising. When we talk to our kids about what a parable is, we say it's a short, surprising story Jesus tells. I think it's easy to miss in this story what's surprising because it's ironic in its delivery. Which one of you sounds like this? I mean, which one of you having 99 sheep wouldn't go? It feels like a rhetorical, well, of course we all would. But to the first century audience, when he says, which one of you wouldn't do this? They would raise their hands like, I wouldn't do that. Like none of us would leave the bulk of our herd vulnerable to wandering or wolves and go after one.
Yeah.
And that's a surprising piece here. That's what Jesus's love and grace is like.
And I think because we're so assuming the force of the which one of you, and you're like, oh, of course I would. I think we actually, in our heads, we skip what he actually says. It's which one of you wouldn't leave 99 and get the one? Oh, absolutely. I would make sure the 99 are in the pen, in the barn, they're safe. And then I would go search for the one. It doesn't say that at all. Which one of you wouldn't leave 99 in the wilderness?
Yeah.
That's the point that you're drawing out. Absolutely vulnerable, and then go search for one. And it's like nobody in their right mind would do that. Yeah.
So that's the surprising feature of this is like that recklessness, that huge desire, burning desire on God's part to restore one to the flock. That's more powerful than sustaining the flock, bird in the hand, two in the bush, that kind of calculus. That's the surprising thing. And we were talking before, if you read a parable and it makes perfect sense to you and you're like, this is fine, there's nothing unusual here, you should probably read it again because there is always, 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 it's playing with your expectations. It's doing something surprising. And in the case of this first century audience, it would be offensive. And that's a species of surprise. Like this would be offensive to the Pharisees and the scribes who, again, feel like, we're the flock. Why aren't you talking to us? Or the other image we use is preaching to the choir. And what we forget at Mount Olivet, because our choir is over to the side, in a lot of churches, if you're preaching to the choir, you're turning your back to the rest of the congregation. And this is just the exact opposite of that. This is, I'm going to look out. I'm going to go out. I'm going to walk out. And it can be offensive.
And then second story, kind of similar. 10 coins, sweeps all night, and then calls together. And the calling together isn't just calling out. It's calling together to celebrate. And you don't celebrate without providing, food, drink, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So odds are she spent way more than the coins she searched all night for. So that sort of absurdity, I think, is added. The thing that grabbed me this time that I just don't think I've paid as much attention to is rejoice. Rejoice with me. So I tell you, there would be more joy in heaven. That sense of just joyfulness, that God isn't simply looking for the lost, but is overjoyed to find the lost. There's no duty here. There's no obligation. There's no like, well, this is what I do. I'm God. It is this absolute joy.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it reinforces sometimes the question I'll ask folks is, do you think of God more like a monarch or a parent?
Yeah.
And I think we tend to think of God as a monarch, a king. And there are biblical descriptions and reasons for that. But at heart, the monarch would be like, go find the lost one. Good, you found it. Bring it back. A parent, though,
right?
Joy.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what just grabbed me this time. This is in juxtaposition to the grumbling. There's this joyfulness, and that's like an absolute contrast where people are like, we're in, they're out. What's the big deal? Why are you hanging out with them? That type of judgment leads you to grumble. And what Jesus is offering is just sheer joy when someone is included.
Yeah. It gives God joy.
So we will normally ask a question or two of folks to get them thinking about this passage a little bit more so. Helps us think about our preaching. Is there a question or two that comes to mind for you?
I have two that come to mind based on our conversation. One would be, when have you been surprised by Jesus's grace? It is surprising. It should be surprising. Allow it to surprise you. And possibly that might even mean offending you. The power of that grace is offensive. It has always been offensive to the world. And then the second question we talk about, and this will be the curriculum at camp this summer, we love because God first loved us. This joy piece feels like that too. Where have you experienced the overflowing of God's joy? When God unites God's people, there is joy there as a spiritual gift. And where have you connected with that or experienced that overflowing, that abundance of God's joy, which pours out from each of us when we're there?
Nice. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. And we'll see you in church or on the live stream.